Hey everyone, Matron here, bringing you another Starcraft 2 commentary, this time Game 2 of the Best-of-5 Show Match series between Root Drewbie spawning as the Red Terran and Root Mini spawning as the Blue Protoss. Again, Inflow Mini, now Root Mini, being picked up by Root Gaming just last week, so joining his new team and immediately playing a Protoss versus one of the team founders, Root Drewbie. So this will be a 5-game series brought to you by GhostToTrolling.com. I'll put their link down in the comments after the games, or after you watch them all. Make sure you check them out and support them, as they do bring show matches once a week to StarCraft 2 fans. They have a lot of good interviews as well. There's an interview up with Huck, I believe, and just any sort of content provider for StarCraft 2, someone you definitely want to support. So it looks like both players chatting back and forth, not actually sure whether it's a best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, as we see Mini scouting around this Lost Temple map. We do see that they are on cross positions, so that's actually going to be very good for Mini. He does like that 1-gate fast expand against Terran. Drewbie did a little bit of an early rush and brought some SCVs along to try to break up the rhythm of Mini in the last game, and he was able to successfully take down that fast expand, and then he was also able to bunker in Mini, but eventually Mini was able to break out of that and counterattack and take down Drewbie. So Drewbie does not want to go down 2-0 to this newbie in his team. So we'll see what he has in store for Mini in this game. Do see the scout of Mini coming in here. As both players still just discussing strategy. And again, as I mentioned, the Root players do have streams. Root Cats and Root Drewbie have streams, and they often play these high-ranked players on the ladder. So they're quite familiar with Mini. They're familiar with his builds as well, which is probably why we saw the early SCV, Marine, and Marauder pressure from Drewbie before Stim had even finished, wanting to deny the fast expand of Mini. Again, Mini is going to come in here and do a gas steal, and what that's going to do is it's going to limit the tech options for the Terran player, so Mini knows that he will not have to be dealing with any sort of cloaked banshees or any sort of higher tech until Drewbie's able to get down this assimilator and get another refinery up there. So now we see Drewbie doing a little bit of a late scout. He's going to find his opponent in the second position here that he scouts in this northern position, and he's not going to be seeing the fast expand from Mini yet. So be interested to see what Drewbie is going to find with his scout and what is going to be his build order once he does scout Mini. We see a factory coming up, so Drewbie may be going for a 1-1-1 build. Throw up the production tab for you. And we see Mini coming out with his first Zealot and getting out a Stalker as well. Is going to try to deny the scout of Drewbie as long as possible, but Drewbie is able to get in here, so he's going to be able to see this one gateway, and this is the exact same opening which Mini had in the last game, so Drewbie may be expecting this fast expand once again. And there's a few things you can do against the fast expand. You can expand on your own, you can go for some sort of timing push to take advantage of your opponent before his economy gets up and running, or you can in fact tech up. So we see Drewbie going for a starport, so maybe thinking that he is going to be able to tech up with his opponent possibly going for the same fast expand build. But it looks like Mini instead is going to be throwing down an extra 2 gates, in fact 3 gates, and a forward pylon, so maybe going for a traditional 4-gate push, as he is chronoing out his warp gate technology. And he's going to move forward with his first 2 Stalkers and his first Stalker and Zealot. This is something we often see him do in the Zerg matchup, as he wants to get early pressure on his opponent. So Drewbie really denied any sort of scouting information. All he's seen is the 1 gate and the cybernetics core, and he's going to try to get, it looks like that starport landed on the tech lab, perhaps be going for Banshees or early Ravens. It looks like a Banshee is on the way, and Inflow Mini has just finished up his Warp Gate tech. These 3 gates are coming in, the 4th will be joining them shortly, and now we're going to get a strong push from Mini. Currently his army is 600 versus the 400 of Drewbie. Drewbie just has these Marines, does not have any sort of bunkers. Down comes an SCV, he's going to be able to see this attack. So that SCV is going to be going down. We see another pylon here by Mini, and it's great positioning. We see 2 bunkers coming in as well, trying to be thrown down by Drewbie, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to hold off these initial few stalkers. All of the SCVs being pulled off for Drewbie, trying to surround these stalkers, make them easier to shoot with those Marines, so the stalkers are denied any sort of micro. And we see Zealots being warped in the high ground. See just a little bit of energy reaching up there, and with the other units on this high ground, it looks like Mini is going to be able to stream Zealots into the base. Drewbie going to do his best to take down these units with the Marines. He does have 1 Banshee at this point, and it looks like Mini is going to be well defended here. So Drewbie able to get up these bunkers, and Mini going to have to retreat, change his game plan a little bit. One problem with these 4 gates is if they do fail, it's often hard to transition. So we see Mini getting up a robotics facility. He's almost forced to do that because he does know that Cloak could be on its way, and he's got to get out some detection, but he will not be able to produce off of these 4 warp gates as well as the robotics facility. Looks like Drewbie not doing a very good job there with micro on his Banshee. The first one taken down, and Mini's forward pylon now finally going to be taken down by Drewbie. Drewbie is not yet working on that Cloak, so he's going to have to use the Banshee without Cloak and just sort of rely on the fact that there's a lot of air distance on both sides of Mini's base. Mini chronoing out his first observer, also positioning a number of units at these watchtowers. He's going to try to see any sort of Banshee that comes through the center of the map. Drewbie's going to want to send his Banshees along the outside of the map so they do not meet forces from Mini. And this Banshee getting down to about half health there, so Mini doing a good job spotting that Banshee and making a retreat back into the base of Drewbie. So Drewbie not able to do too much damage with these early Banshees, and his opponent does have up that Observer, has it rallied into the mineral line with a few Stalkers there, and now pushing in again with the Stalkers, taking down that SCV, preventing the command center from building. So neither player on a second base quite yet. These Stalkers doing a good job staying out of the range of those Marines up on the high ground. If those Marines were to come down without any support, they're very low, as they were taken down quite low in the last battle, and these Stalkers looks like they're going to try to take down the command center. It's cancelled by Drewbie, so saving himself those minerals, and now Mini going to pull back. The Marines will not be able to chase down those Stalkers, and he does not want to take on those Stalkers yet with that Banshee. Still no Cloak on the way for the Terran player, as we see Mini now transitioning into a robotics bay, and also getting up an expansion of his own. And with that slight pressure, he is able to delay Drewbie's expansion, put himself on even footing, and both players will have an expansion up around the same time. So we see a Banshee coming out, now finally smartly going towards the outside away from the tower, so Mini will not be able to see this Banshee coming. Mini does have a good pylon here, position-wise, as he will be able to see any sort of Banshee that flies over top of it. Now a good gamer sense on the part of Mini, pulling back here. Knows he needs to defend his natural now as well as his main. And I'd really be wondering what my opponent's going for if I am Mini. He doesn't have too much scouting information. He did poke into the base, but he doesn't know whether his opponent is going for another starport, whether he's going for Cloak, or whether he's throwing up another 2 barracks or so and is just going to push out with Marines and Marauders and Stim. We do see the Banshee of Drewbie now working his way towards the back of the minerals of Mini. He's going to start taking down those probes. Again, Banshees do 2 shots on probes, so very annoying for the Protoss economy. And now we see the expansion is up, so Drewbie's going to have to poke in here and start taking down these probes as well. Mini doing a smart job, not quite transferring over probes until he does have defenses into position here. Using this Observer to provide sight on that Banshee, and now these last few Stalkers down here are going to try to get a shots on this Banshee and push it away. See Drewbie being very annoying with this Banshee, using every last shot possible. And Mini done a good job here throwing down this pylon on this side of the map. So if Drewbie does go along the sides here with the Banshees, looks like he's throwing down one on the right side, he's going to be able to see those. He can in fact warp in a Stalker if the Banshee's flying overhead. So Drewbie bringing this Banshee back, and we'll see whether it's taking down perhaps a quick Stalker warped in and a few shots on that Banshee. If we look, both players do have their expansions up and running, 40 Harvesters to the 27, as we do see a Stalker coming in here, and that Banshee needs to get out of there as it's just 2 more shots away from death. Mini has transitioned, has up 2 Colossi at this point, so they're going to be very good against the Marines and the Marauders of Drewbie. Drewbie does not have much of an army at this point, 1650 to 1500, but remember a good portion of that army is the Medevac as well as this Banshee. and he's allowed his opponents to get up a Stargate as well as a robotics facility with a bay. And we do see Phoenix coming out. The Phoenix are going to be quite good against the Banshees and sort of any Vikings which come from that starport of Drewbie. See a mule being called down, wanting to repair up this Banshee so it can do more harassment. And Drewbie pushing in here for an attack. He does have the 2 Colossus to deal with as well as a Phoenix there, so he's going to want to try to stim up, focus down the Colossus. And this Phoenix coming in and picking off that Banshee. A scan by Drewbie. He's not going to like what he sees. He sees some sentries here. They can get force fields down. Very powerful, preventing the kiting and the micro from these Marines and Marauders. Looks like Drewbie is in fact going to be pulling back, taking more of a defensive position, perhaps getting up a 3rd. If we check the production tab, it looks like we do have extended thermal lance on the way for Mini. So he's pushing out. He may want to wait until that extended thermal lance does complete. Maybe meeting the army here at the watchtower. Drewbie does see this coming, but has not moved his units. Stimming up, trying to focus down units, kiting away from these zealots. A few force fields going down, not very effective though, not trapping any units. Drewbie misrallying a number of Protoss in here, or a number of Marauders in here. And now Drewbie trying to defend, or pull back to a defensive position. Pulling off SCVs to do a little bit of tanking. Mini doing a good job pulling these Colossus back, kiting those SCVs, taking them down in just a few shots, and now it looks like the Stalkers were able to take down the 1 Viking there, and Drewbie has to give the GG. So Drewbie a little bit upset, going down 2-0 in this show match to the newcomer to his team, Mini. So we saw Mini doing a good job there with an early 4-gate. He did pressure his opponent, and he got good scouting information. He saw that Banshee, and he was able to get up the Observer. Drewbie was able to defend against that 4-gate, but he was just not able to do too much with those Banshees. He had bad control on a number of Banshees, taking needless damage. That first Banshee died over the cliffs of Mini's base, and Mini was able to get up an expansion at about the same time as Drewbie, pushing in for a second attack, forcing a cancel on the first command center that Drewbie was making. And then Mini just a good job getting some Phoenix to counter the air units of the starport, and getting those Colossi out to counter the Marines and the Marauders. So Mini, one of the top North American players, really showing a skill to his new team leader, Root Drewbie, in this one, up 2-0 in this best of 5 show match. I will go ahead and bring you game 3 of this show match. Thanks for watching this one. I'll see you there.